Today, Busan, Korea gets ready to host the 10th Assembly of the World Council of Churches. I am Angelique Walker-Smith at the Bexco Exhibition Center. This is Madang Live. In our show today, we look at the 4 pre-assemblies that traditionally lead into the assembly. We look forward to the assembly that starts today. We find out what the protests outside the convention center were all about. And we show you how a small village is being built in preparation for the assembly. We also have an interview with Bishop Walter Altman, the WCC moderator. Pre-assemblies have been a part of the assemblies of the World Council of Churches for many years. At the pre-assemblies, interest groups discuss issues that they want to put on the agenda at the assembly. This year's pre-assemblies included women and men, youth, indigenous peoples, and people with disabilities. They will continue their discussions throughout the 11 days of the assembly. On the first day, delegates will gather to officially open the 10th World Assembly. The opening will start with morning prayer and will be followed by the opening plenary. It is expected that the 700 delegates will be joined by roughly 5,000 guests from Korea and throughout the world to launch the 11-day assembly. But not everybody is happy to see the World Council of Churches in Busan. A group of local Christians staged a very vocal protest outside the Bexco Centre where the assembly will be held.
WCC emphasizes just the communism.
We also against the homosexualism.
Local churches, on the other hand, feel this is a good opportunity to educate Korean churches about the good work WCC does here and around the world.
General Assembly of WCC will be a very great earthquake, spiritually speaking. So we hope that we can be unified as a church. So we expect that they can open their mind and their heart so that they can accept us between fundamentalist and liberalism or traditionalist. It doesn't matter. So we have to be one.
The Madang Hall is an exhibition and activity space inside the Bexco Centre where delegates and guests can come together to find out more about the WCC, other churches, and ecumenical organizations. Earlier, our correspondent, Kimberly Ivany, visited the hall where they were setting up.
It doesn't look like much now, but by tomorrow, this warehouse spotted with boxes and hanging wires will be a space of fellowship and vibrant energy. Volunteers are piecing together the Madang Hall, an assembly centerpiece featuring 90 exhibits of art displays, dance performances, and cultural workshops.
It's a moment where we can relax. It's a moment where we can demonstrate, who we are, where we come from, what we can focus on. I think it's going to be a great space to really rejuvenate our participants as they're here for the full conference.
Outside the actual construction zone, a lot of planning is being done here in the office. Daniel and this team of stewards have been working behind the scenes to figure out how to make the Madang Hall a perfect complement to the Assembly's mandate.
So we're involved to make sure it's a vibrant place of kind of fellowship together. There's different organisations coming in from all over the world, different partners of WCC are here, down there, kind of. So it's a collaboration of a lot of different people really coming together in this one space.
But exhibitors and assembly participants will flood the Bexco Centre tomorrow. Will it all be ready?
Well, they've got all night, so they've got a good couple of hours, so it will be done in the morning.
So it may be a long night, but the transformation is sure to be dazzling. This is Kimberly Ivany for Madang Live.
In this section of the program, we go deeper and learn more about the human stories. Our correspondent, Anam Gill, tells us about the amazing work that went into putting the assembly together with our Korean church friends and their committee.
Busan, South Korea, church volunteers are packing welcome bags for the delegates of World Council of Churches. It is customary for Koreans to welcome guests to their country with gifts, and this is no exception.
They are packing the gift items for overseas participants for 3,000, for Korean participants 7,000, total 10,000 people. The total 50 volunteers who belong to this church, they are working now.
But it is not only in Busan where Koreans are preparing. In South, the Yoroful Gospel Church is giving 100% in preparation for the assembly. They are the largest church in the world with 600,000 members. According to Pastor Lee Young-hoon, it is important for them to be involved in the assembly.
During the WCC General Council, we learned many things from around the world. So also, we have only 130 years of history, but you have the long history in your tradition. So we learn many things from your tradition and your churches.
The headquarters of the Korean Hosting Committee is housed in South. From here, they coordinate all the arrangements for the assembly. They have to arrange housing for the delegates, food, transport, and make sure everything runs smoothly during the assembly.
네, 2009년 8월 30일 4년 전 WCC 10차 부산 총회가 대한민국 부산으로 정해진 이후 본격적으로 사목을 차려서 치열하게 준비한 2년, 이제 일주일 남았습니다.
And now, even that week has run out. After hard work and many hours, all that is left now is to welcome the delegates to Busan.
환영합니다. 웰컴.
The moderator has one of the most important jobs in the life of the World Council of Churches. The moderator's job is to facilitate deliberations and decisions in the Central Committee as well as the Assembly. Bishop Walter Altman serves as the moderator of the World Council of Churches. His term expires this year at the end of the Assembly. He has been serving since 2006. I had the opportunity to speak to the moderator. So moderator, it's wonderful to have this opportunity to talk with you. Tell us a little bit about the past 7 years, I think it's been, that you have been serving.
Well, a pleasure, Angelique, and those 7 years have been extremely significant for me personally. Already as a teenager, I had, within the Lutheran Church, but its relations are very deep, intense, ecumenical commitment, and this actually was throughout my life in various positions. So it has been a real great honor and privilege to serve the WCC in that position these years. So I come to Busan, to this assembly, with a deep feeling of gratitude for God having given me this opportunity, and together with so many brothers and sisters, being able to serve the WCC and the churches which are member of the WCC.
So what have been your highest points? Where do you think the greatest impact has come under your leadership?
Well, I think we faced a number of difficulties in this period. With the religious scenery has changed quite a bit in today's world. We can register the growth of churches, many of them not being members of the WCC. I acknowledge that with gratitude on one side. On the other side, the scenery has become more and more fragmented. And actually many times churches competing with each other. And I think that is very much against what our Lord Jesus wanted. So he prayed to God for his disciples to be one as he and the Father are one. So in the ecumenical movement we strive towards unity, acknowledging our differences, but also allowing us to learn from each other and find a common journey in many aspects. So the theological, but also the questions of unity in general. In this period, we had new important documents on the church.
And that will be in the assembly today as we kick off. Say a little bit quickly about that. What will be some of those highlights?
Yes, and also the one on mission. And we are going to work, as in all assemblies, on the document on unity, which is the core purpose of the World Council of Churches. But then we also have a role in public witness, and I think there have been a few signs in this period of the importance of the public witness, or sometimes we say the prophetic voice of the WCC. In my own country, in Brazil, we were able to bring back to Brazil documents which were in the archives of the World Council of Churches, giving witness to torture perpetrated by the military regime in the 70s and 80s in Brazil against opponents. And these documents have been taken up by the judiciary in Brazil, and they have been digitized, so they are available today with deep acknowledge to the WCC, because it was a program of the WCC in the 70s.
So we are looking forward to these documents having relevance to all the different churches around the world, and it sounds like Brazil is a good example of that.
Well, it is one example, and it is serving also the Brazilian Truth Commission, which was established actually later than in Argentina or Chile, other countries. So we are also reminded of that prophetic role in the past, but again bringing it to fruit even today.
And so we're looking forward to that very much, moderator, in this assembly today. How it is the statements, the public witness will have an effect not only to the churches that are coming, but the churches worldwide. So just thank you so much for your insight about Brazil in particular, and for your leadership. We give thanks. Fascinating insights. Well, that wraps up our program for today. Tomorrow, we will report on the first day of the 10th Assembly of the World Council of Churches. See you then.